Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 1. Sutta Vacha Tata Parikshit Vidavarya Shikshaya Mahimaha Bhagavata Shishasa Yatha hi Satyam Abhijata Kovida Samadhishan Vipra Mahad Gunastatha.
Sutta Goswami, O learned Brahmana, Maharaj Parikshit then began to urge the world as a great devotee of the Lord, under the instructions of the best of the twice-born Brahmanas. He ruled by those great qualities who are foretold by astrology.
Text 2. Satarasya tanayam upayemai ravatim janamijayadis chaturas tasyam upadyat sutam.
King Parikshit married the daughter of King Uttara and begat 4 sons, headed by Maharaj Janamejaya.
Text 3. Ajaharashvamidham strim gangayam bhui dakshinam praradvatam gurum kritva deva yatra chigochara.
Maharaj Parikshit, after having selected Kripacharya for guidance as his spiritual master, performed 3 horse sacrifices on the banks of the Ganges. These were executed with sufficient rewards for the attendants. At these sacrifices, even the common man could see demigods.
Text 4. Nijagraho jasavira kalam digvijaye kvachit Nripalingadharam Shudram Khananantam Gomithunam Pada.
Once, when Maharaj Parikshit was on his way to conquer the world, he saw the master of Kali Yuga, who was lower than a Shudra, disguised as a king and hurting the legs of a cow and bull. The king at once caught hold of him and to deal sufficient punishment.
Text 5. Shaunaka Uvacha Kasya Heto Nijagraha Kalam Digvijaye Nrapa Yadeva Chena Dakshidra Koshagam Yahabhadhanamat Tatkatyatam Mahabhaga Yadi Krishna Kadashayam.
Shaunaka Rishi inquired, why did Maharaj Parikshit simply punish him, since he was the lowest of Shudras, having dressed as a king and having struck a cow on the leg? Please describe all the incidents if they relate to the topics of Lord Krishna.
Text 6. Atharvasya Padam Bhoja Makarandala Hamsakam Kimanya Rasadalape Ayusho Yada Sadvayaya.
The devotee of the Lord are accustomed to licking up the honey available from the lotus feet of the Lord, which is the use of topics which simply waste one's valuable life.
Text 7. Shudraya Shumninamanga Matyanamritamicchatam Iho Pahuto Bhagavan Nityo Samrita Karmani.
Sutta Goswami, there are those amongst men who desire freedom from death and get eternal life. They escape the slaughtering process by calling the controller of death, Yamaraj.
Text 8. Na kashtin mayate tavat yavadastai hamtaka etadartham hi bhagavan ahuta paramashri aho naloki piyita hari leelamritam vacha.
As long as Yamaraj, who causes everyone's death, is present here, no one shall meet with death. The great sages have invited the controller of death, Yamaraj, who is the representative of the Lord. Living beings who are under his grip should take advantage by hearing the deathless nectar in the form of this narration of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord.
Text 9. Mandasya manda pragyasya vayo mandaya sashtravye nidraya priyate naktam tiva chavyata karmadhi.
Lazy human beings are with partly intelligence and a short duration of life pass their night sleeping and the day performing activities that are for naught.
Text 10. Sota vacha yada parikshit kuru jangale vasat kalim pravishtam nija chakravartite nishamya vatam anati priyam tatha sharasanam samyuga shandiradate.
Sutta Goswami said, while Maharaj Parikshit was residing in the capital of the Kuru Empire, the symptoms of the age of Kali began to infiltrate within the jurisdiction of his state. When he learnt about this, he did not think the matter very palatable. This did, however, give him a chance to fight. He took up his bow and arrows and prepared himself for military activities.
Text 11. Swalankritam shamya turanga yojitam tatham mrigendra dvajam ashrita purat vrito rathashva dvipapati yuktaya sasenya dvigachi nirgata.
Maharaj Parikshit sat on a chariot drawn by black horses. His flag was marked with the sign of a lion. Being so decorated and surrounded by charioteers, cavalry, elephants, and infantry soldiers, he left the capital to conquer in all directions.
Text 12. Bhadrashvam ketumalam cha bharatam chutaran kuren kim purushadini vashani vijitya jagribal pallim.
Maharaj Parikshit then conquered all parts of the earthly planet. Bhadrashvar, Ketumal, Bharat, the northern Kuru, Kimpurusha, etc., and exacted tributes from their respective rulers.
Text 13 to 15. Tatra pashvana swapurvesha mahatmanam pragiyamanam cha yasha krishna mahatmaya shuchakam atmanam cha paritratam ashvatham noshtra tedasa sneham cha vishnipathanam tesham bhaktim cha keshave tebhya parama santushta prati yujramipitalochana mahadhanani vashamsi tadaharan mahamana.
Whenever the king visited, he continuously had the glories of his great forefathers, who were all devotees of the Lord, and also the glorious acts of Lord Krishna. He also heard how he himself had been protected by the Lord from the powerful heat of the weapon of Ashwatthama. People also mention the great affection between the descendants of Vishnu and Pritha, due to the latter great devotion to Lord Keshava. The king, being very pleased with the singers of such glories, opened his eyes in great satisfaction. Out of magnanimity, he was pleased to award them very valuable necklaces and clothing.
Text 16. Paratya parashada sevana sakhya dotya virasana nukamana stvana pranaman snikteshu pandasu jagat pranatim cha vishnu bhaktim karoti nrapatischarana.
Maharaj Parikshit heard that out of his causeless mercy, Lord Krishna, Vishnu, who is universally obeyed, rendered all kinds of service to the malleable sons of Pandu, except by accepting posts ranging from chariot driver to president to messenger, friend, night watchman, etc. According to the will of the Pandavas, obeying them like a servant and offering obeisances like one younger in years. When he heard this, Maharaj Parikshit became overwhelmed with devotion to the lotus feet of the Lord.
Text 17. Tasyevam vartamanasya purvesham vitamanvaham natitre kilascharyam yadashitannibodhame.
Now you may hear from me of what happened while Maharaj Parikshit was passing his days hearing of the good occupations of his forefathers and being absorbed in thought of them.
Text 18. Dharmapadeke nacharan pichayam upalabhadam prichati smashruvadanam vivatsamiva mataram.
The personality of religious principles, Dharma, was wandering about in the form of a bull, and he met the personality of earth in the form of a cow, who appeared to grieve like a mother who had lost her child. She had tears in her eyes, and the beauty of her body was lost. Thus, Dharma questioned the earth as follows.
Hare Krishna. That
Hare
was
Krishna.
fantastic. Thank you so much. Vani, that was really nice. Vani, how old are you? Not Vani, sorry. Vani, is it Vani? Yes, Vani.
I am 9 years old.
9 years old. So confident. Really nicely. You read all those verses in English so beautifully. Thank you so much, Vani. Well done. And Ishita, Sanskrit was amazing. How old are you, Ishita?
I'm 17.
Wow, that's amazing. But your Sanskrit pronunciation was perfect. Really well done. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Thank you, Lord. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna devotees. So I'm going to use the same share screen. Hopefully you can see the next screen. So we will recite the verses from here. Can somebody confirm you can see the first verse of the 16th chapter now?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Right. Thank you, Rasadeva Mataji. Hare Krishna. So we will start here and then we will go to the PowerPoint afterwards. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 16, text 1. Sutta Uvacha Tata Parikshit Vijavaya Shikshaya Mahim Mahabhagavata Shashashaha Yatha hi Sutyam Abhijata Kovidaha Samadhisanvipramahad Punastatha. What are the synonyms? Sutta Uvacha, Sutta Goswami said, Tata, thereafter, Parikshit, Maharaj Parikshit, Vijavarya, the great twice-born Brahmanas, Shikshaya, by their instructions, Mahim, the earth, Mahabhagavata, the great devotee, Shashasa, ruled her in the past, Yatha, as they told it, he certainly, Sutyam, at the time of his birth, Abhijata Kovidah, expert astrologers at the time of birth, Samadhishan, gave their opinions, Vipra, O Brahmanas, Mahat Guna, great qualities, Tatha, true to that. Translation, purport by Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sutta Goswami said, O learned Brahmanas, Maharaj Parikshit then began to rule over the world as a great devotee of the Lord under the instructions of the best of the twice-born Brahmanas. He ruled by those great qualities which were foretold by expert astrologers at the time of his birth. So, is there just one large paragraph of the purport? Can somebody unmute and read this purport, please?
Please, can I read Prabhuji?
Yes, please, Arpita. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna.
At the time of Maharaja Parikshit's birth, the expert astrologer Brahmanas foretold some of his qualities. Maharaja Parikshit developed all those qualities, being a great devotee of the Lord. The real qualification is to become a devotee of the Lord, and gradually all the good qualities worthy of possession develop. Maharaja Parikshit was a Mahabhagavata, or a first-class devotee. He was not only well versed in the science of devotion, but also able to convert others to become devotees by his transcendental instructions. Maharaja Parikshit was, therefore, a devotee of the first order, and thus he used to consult great sages and learned brahmanas, who could advise him by the sastras how to execute the state's administration. Such great kings were more responsible than modern elected executive heads, because they obliged the great authorities by following their instructions left in Vedic literatures. There was no need for impractical fools to enact daily a new legislative bill and to conveniently alter it again and again to serve some purpose. The rules and regulations were already set forth by great sages like Manu, Yajnavalkya, Parasara, and other liberated sages, and the enactments were all suitable for all ages and all places. Therefore, the rules and regulations were standard and without flaw or defect. Kings like Maharaja Parikshit had their council or advisors, and all the members of that council were either great sages or brahmanas, or the first order. They did not accept any salary, nor had they any necessity for such salaries. The state would get the best advice without expenditure. They were themselves samadarsi, equal to everyone, both man and animal. They would not advise the king to give protection to man and instruct him to kill the poor animals. Such council members were not fools or representatives to compose a fool's paradise. They were all self-realized souls and members, and they knew perfectly well how all living beings in the state would be happy, both in this life and in the next. They were not concerned with the hedonistic philosophy of eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. They were philosophers in the real sense, and they all knew well what is the mission of human life. Under all these obligations, the advisory council of the king would give correct directions, and the king or executive head, being himself a qualified devotee of the Lord, would scrupulously follow them for the welfare of the state. The state in the days of Maharaja Yudhishthira or Maharaja Parikshit was a welfare state in the real sense of the term, because no one was unhappy in that state, be he man or animal. Maharaja Parikshit was an ideal king for a welfare state of the world. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Arpita. Very, very nicely. Thank you so much. So we'll go to the next verse. We cite the Sanskrit and the translation word to word, and we can move on to the translation also, support that as well. Srimad first canto, chapter 16, text 2. Sa uttarasya tanayam upayema iravatim janme jayas dim chaturas tasyam upadayat sutan. Synonyms: Saha, he, Uttarasya, of King Uttara, Tanayam, daughter, Upayeme, married, Iravati, Janmajaya, Adin, headed by Maharaj Janmajaya, Chatura, 4, Tasyam, in her, Upadayat, begot, Sutan, sons. Translation: King Parikshit married the daughter of King Uttara and begot 4 sons, headed by Maharaj Janmajaya. So purport, with a one short paragraph. So we can actually have just one person do the whole lot, please. Yeah, so somebody can unmute and do this.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can I read, please?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Rasalila Mataji, yes, go.
Yes. Maharaj Uttara was the son of Virat and maternal uncle of Maharaj Parikshit. Iravati, being the daughter of Maharaj Uttara, was a cousin sister of Maharaja Parikshit, but cousin brothers and sisters were allowed to get married if they did not belong to the same gotra or family. In the Vedic system of marriage, the importance of the gotra or family was stressed. Arjuna also married Subhadra, although she was his maternal cousin sister. Janmejaya, one of the Rajrishi kings and the famous son of Maharaj Parikshit. His mother's name was Iravati, or according to some, Madravati. Maharaj Janmejaya begot two sons of the names Gyatanika and Sankukarna. He celebrated several sacrifices in the Kurukshetra pilgrimage site, and he had three younger brothers named Stutasena, Ugrasena, and Bhimsena. Second, he invaded Takshashila Ajanta, and he decided to avenge the unlawful curse upon his great father Maharaj Parikshit. He performed a great sacrifice called Sarpayagna to kill the race of serpents, including the Takshaka, which had bitten his father to death. On request from uh, many influential demigods and sages, he had to change his decision to kill the race of snakes. But despite stopping the sacrifice, he satisfied everyone concerned in the sacrifice by rewarding them properly. In the ceremony, Mahamuni Vyasadeva also was present, and he personally narrated the history of Battle of Kurukshetra before the king. Later on, by the order of Vyasadeva, his disciple Vaishampayana narrated before the king the subject matter of Mahabharata. He was much affected by his great father's untimely death and very anxious to see him again. And he expressed his desire before the great sage Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva also fulfilled his desire. His father was present before him, and he worshipped both his father and Vyasadeva with great respect and pomp. Being fully satisfied, he most munificently gave charity to the Brahmanas present at the sacrifice. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Sarasila Srimati Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadatitam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnamasya Shri Rupam Sadhvatam Sadhana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhavaitam Sabhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vidhatan Svavansa Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Vanshat Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Swami Nityananda Sripta Chera Sutra Neta Vagminam Jara Sapta Prabhupada Gata Prana Nami Bhakti Charitava Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sundari Pasha Vinashis Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. So we are now on to a new chapter, chapter 16, which is entitled How Parikshit Received the Age of Kali. So because this is the first time we was looking at this chapter. We'll just do a chapter overview today, and then we go into chapters text 1 and 2. So the chapter begins, section 1 and 4 talks about Parikshit, the ideal ruler, and how he punishes Kali. 5 to 9 will speak about questions by Shaunaka Rishi. 10 to 17 speaks about Parikshit, the conqueror, all his prowess, conqueror. 18 to 24, Dharma's question to Dharani. And 25 to 36, pain of separation from the Lord and lamentation about Kali, Dharani's pain in separation. So today's verses, just to remind ourselves the English. Sutta Goswami said, "O learned Brahmanas, Maharaj Parikshit then began to rule over the world as a great devotee of the Lord under the instructions of the best of the twice-born Brahmanas. He ruled by those great qualities which were foretold by expert astrologers at the time of his birth." The second text is saying, King Parikshit married the daughter of King Uttara and begot 4 sons, headed by Maharaj Chandrasekhar. So today we're going to focus mainly on the first text. With the second text, there's not much to speak about. It's very self-explanatory. It speaks about Parikshit Maharaj marrying the daughter of Uttara, having 4 sons, and the details of the sons are given. And then more details are given about personalities like Parikshit Maharaj, Janmeja, and like that. So we will speak mainly about text 1, lots of tattva in there. So the first Sanskrit verse in the first text begins with tata. Tata means therefore. So it says therefore. Maharaj Parikshit began like that. So when somebody says therefore, means something has happened. So referring to the previous chapter. So anybody can unmute and tell me what happened at the end of the previous chapter? Yesterday it was summarized.
Yeah, all the sorry, please accept my obeisances. Yudhishthira Maharaj and brothers and Draupadi and what's the Parikshit mother's name? Uttara. They also went back to spiritual world, because Yudhishthira Maharaj first started because he heard everything from Arjuna, that what happened, then how he was feeling the separation, and then he realized that the Kali is approaching, so there's a time for them to leave for the spiritual world. So they follow certain rules and regulation how they can, a spiritual body, they can go to the spiritual world. So all the brothers also follow the same path. And Draupadi and Uttara also did the same. So this is the way they went back to the spiritual world.
Yeah, thank you so much, Parika Mataji. That's a nice summary. So they said in that section that they actually went back in the same body to the spiritual world, isn't it? Yeah, that's very interesting. So this is now following up, and now they were sort of departed, and now it's going to focus on how Parikshit Maharaj ruled. So we'll just go on to the purport of the first text. The purport begins at the time of Maharaj Parikshit's birth. The expert astrologers, Brahmanas, foretold some of his qualities. So this in the 12th chapter of the first canto, these qualities have been described. These astrologers were speaking, and this is starting from about the 16th verse to about the 25th verse, roughly. So we'll just see how those verses go. We can just recap on the qualities of Maharaj. This is the forecast or the foretelling of the qualities of Maharaj Parikshit at his birth. So take 16 Daivena patigatena sukle samstapapachisi tatovo nagugraha vitaya Vishnuna Prabha Vishnuna. The Brahmana said, this spotless son has been restored by the all-powerful and all-pervasive Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, in order to oblige you. He was saved. He was saved when he was doomed to be destroyed by an irresistible supernatural weapon. So, as you all know, we had this weapon, the master heading his way, heading at Uttara, and the Lord went and saved him. So it is explained here. Vishnuna means powerful, and then all powerful, and then Prabha Vishnuna also means one who is pervasive, all pervasive. So he was saved like that. And text 17, Tasmanamna Vishnurata iti loke bhavishyati na sandeho mahabhagavato mahan. For this reason, this is the Brahmana speaking. For this reason, this child will be well known in the world as one who is protected by the personality of Godhead, or most fortunate one. There is no doubt that this child will become a first-class devotee and will be qualified with all good qualities. And then on text 18, Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking if he will be as saintly and as famous as the other predecessor kings in the great family. But then from 19 to 25, there's a list list of the qualities that the Brahmanas give. So in text 19, he says, in maintaining all those who are born, he will be like, and there's comparisons given, he will be like Ikshvaku. And then the same verse, it says, following the Brahmanical principles and to be true to his promise, he will be like, can anybody guess who will be like? Like a real
Yudhishthira. Ramchandra.
Ramchandra, exactly, yes. Ramachandra, Lord Ram. And then text 20 talks about he'll be munificent and protector of the surrendered. And there's obviously stories in the Puranas about somebody very munificent for protecting his citizens. Anybody can guess?
Maharaja Yudhishthira?
He was actually, in one sense, all of these wonderful kings they had the same qualities. But the one that has been explained in this particular text is a king, I'll give you a hint, who saved a parrot, so not a parrot, a dove. He saved a dove and he was willing to give his flesh.
Maharaja Ambrish?
No.
No.
King Shibi.
Oh, Shivi.
Shibi.
Yeah.
So who knows the story and who can tell us the story? Beautiful story about King Shibi and how munificent he was. Okay, so one time, go on, who is this?
Iskanta.
Yes, go on, please, if you can, yeah.
I can't remember the two birds' name. The two birds were following each
So
other.
first was the dove. The dove was the one who was chased by an eagle or a hawk.
Yeah. And then the one of them came to the shelter of Maharaja Shivi.
Yes.
And then Shivi said, because the other bird wanted to eat the other bird. And the Maharaja Shivi said, you can eat my flesh, just leave him. He's in my shelter. I can't let him killed by you. So then they started doing that. And the other one keep eating all his flesh, Maharaja Shivi's. In the end, they found out that they was just examining him, then.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mataji. Yeah. So basically it was Agni who took the form of a dove, and Agnidev, and Indra took the form of an eagle. They wanted to test because they heard about the glories of Maharaj Shivi. They wanted to test it. So one became a dove, and the other was chasing, pretending to chase. And when when the dove went to King Shibi for protection, and then the hawk said, "Look, that this is my food. You are the king of everybody, and you're supposed to also look after me. So if you don't give me the dove, what will I eat?"
Yeah.
So he says, "Okay, I'll give you." King Shibi said, "Adal, I'll give you meat equivalent to his weight." So then the bird said, "In that case, you go then kill something else to give me the meat, right? How can that be right?" So he says, "No, I won't kill anybody else. I'll give you my own flesh."
Yeah.
And then he kept putting, they brought a balance, like the old-fashioned Rajwa, I call it. And they put the bird on one side, the dove, and King Shibi kept putting flesh from his body onto the other side of the balance. But the bird was heavier and heavier. In the end, King Shibi was about to put himself completely on the thing, saying that fine, you can just take me home, you can eat me home. But at that time, then they took their original forms back and they glorified King Shibi. So it shows you how munificent a protector. He wanted to protect that dove by any means, even if it meant giving up his own body for it. This is amazing. So that was the example given. And the same text is spread the name and fame of a family like King Bharat, as explained. Again, there are many examples we can give, but they use the name of King Bharat. Then 21, he was a great bowman. This is easy. Was like who? Great
Arjun.
bowman.
Arjuna.
Exactly, yeah. And he would be as strong as
Bhima.
Bhima would be as, I also was thinking Bhima, but actually in the text it says he would be as strong as a lion. Then here in the same text 22, it says he'd be as tolerant as.
And Yudhishthira Maharaj was very tolerant.
Yes, there was also actually, yes, most of these brahmanas are very tolerant anyway. Most of these kings, rather. But here again, I was thinking tree, because we have that verse for tolerant as a tree.
Tolerant as tree, yeah.
But it's not the tree. They actually
Oh.
it uses a very interesting sort of example here, which is as tolerant as parents,
Oh.
isn't it? Because we all know how tolerant we have to be. So yeah, interestingly, they uses that in that verse. And then as forbearing as
Earth.
as earth, exactly, yes. And then 23, it says as munificent. This is repeat from 20 actually, as another one. As munificent as. His personality is called very easily pleased.
Shiva.
Shiva, Lord
Lord
Shiva,
Shiva.
exactly,
Yeah.
yes. And most magnanimous as. This is another wonderful story from the Puranas. Is King Rantidev. So who can unmute and tell me the story about King Rantidev? That Rantidev was a very pious king, and once he was observing a fast, I think a 45-day fast or 60-day fast, a long fast, and when he was about to break the fast, there was no food. There was actually a famine or something, and there was no food or there was no drink. There was nothing there. And then somebody came and gave him some food and water to share with himself and his family. And at that time, there was a series of things. First of all, a beggar comes and he gives half the food to the beggar. Then another person comes like that. There's a series of people who keep coming. This was also some kind of a test. And finally, it ends up that he was so hungry, but he gave all his food away to people who were asking for the food. Even at the end, there was one beggar who came with a dog, and he said, "My dog is very hungry." He even gave the food to his dog, and he remained hungry. This was a test of his magnanimous nature. And then last one, text 25. Patient as. Again, many people we can think about, but here the example is Bali Maharaj. So you can see now on the left-hand column, these are all the wonderful qualities that Maharaj Parikshit was predicted that he will have. And in this text, it is explained that he actually proved the Brahmanas white, and he had all these qualities. And continuing on to the purport, one last one I missed was he was a staunch devotee like Prahlad Maharaj. And that was also very fun. The real qualification, the purport continuing, the real qualification is to become a devotee of the Lord, and gradually all the good qualities worthy of possession develop. So when we become a devotee, we all actually again have experience, right? When we started to take up devotional service, gradually the bad habits started to fall away. And we automatically, just because of reading Prabhupada's books, by being in association with good devotees, we take on their good qualities. And this happens automatically. As we know, we didn't really have to make much effort. Things just happen quite easily. So there's a verse in the fifth canto of the Bhagavatam, 18th chapter. This particular chapter is about the residents of Jambudvip offering prayers to the Lord. And this particular section, I think around text 11, 12, talks about Lord Narasimhadev. Lord Narasimhadev, don't forget, this is the fifth canto. Actually, Narasimhadev's pastimes come in the seventh canto. So this is a brief mention of Narasimhadev in the fifth canto, where he's residing. Narasimhadev apparently resides in a tract of Jambudvip called Harivarsha. And there, Prahlad Maharaj, along with the other servants and residents of Harivarsha, are offering this prayer to the Lord. And they're saying to the Lord that Yashyasti Bhakti Bhagavatya Kinchana Sarve Gunestatsa Samasata Sura Arava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahaguna Manorathena Satidavato Bahi. Those who have done Bhakti Vaibhav, they would know this was one of our memory verses. So here it says, all the demigods and their exalted qualities, such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation, become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family members and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? Very powerful verse. So it shows clearly here that those who are not devotees, it's very, very difficult for them to develop these wonderful qualities. But once we are devotees, then the good qualities come. This Prabhupada is explaining that in this particular purport. That good qualities will automatically come as long as we, we are determined in our devotional service and we progress. So part of that progress is developing these good qualities. He continues the purport saying, Maharaj Parikshit was therefore a devotee of the first order, and thus he used to consult great sages and learned brahmanas who could advise him by the Shastras how to execute state administration. So this is quite important. This is, in the old days, of course, there was no democracy. It was all monarchy. And monarchy was surviving, and not just surviving, monarchy was thriving because of great kings. The downfall of monarchy came when the kings themselves became corrupt. And then the monarchy was no more legitimate, really. And the kings were just literally basically despots. And they were just not looking after the interests of the citizens, but they were just doing things for their own interests. And that's why, in the end, it had to give way to democracy, which is also, as we all know, is a very imperfect system. Prabhupada often speaks about that. So there was one lecture that I took these notes from Prabhupada, and he's speaking very powerfully about this. So he's saying, our Krishna conscious movement is for a purpose, is for that purpose. He's talking about establishing good leadership. we don't very much like this so-called democracy. What is the value of this democracy? All fools and rascals, Prabhupada says, you can see, as soon as you see these fools and rascals, you know it's Prabhupada speaking. They vote for another fool and rascal, and he becomes prime minister, or this or that. Just like so many cases, just like in so many cases. That is not good for the people. We are not for this so-called democracy because they are not trained. If the king is trained, that was a system of monarchy, just like Yudhishthira, Maharaj, or Arjuna, or anyone. All the kings were called Rajarshis, Raja and Rishi, 2 words. So king as well as a saint. Prabhupada continues. They are not ordinary, like this drunkard king, that I have so much money, let me drink and let there be dancing of prostitutes. Not like that. They were rishi, although they were king, they were rishis. That kind of king is wanted, Rajarshi. Then people will be happy. Then he concludes, he says in Bengali there is a proverb. Rajara pape, Raja nashta, grihini doshe, grihastha brashta. If this is Bengali, he says in grihastha life, in household life, if the woman is no good, if the wife is no good, then nobody will be happy in that home. Similarly, in the kingdom, if the king is impious, then everyone will suffer. That is a problem. So very, very nice, very powerful. Prabhupada summarizes how the perfect system is monarchy, but for that system to be perfect and for it to work properly, it needs very pious kings. Prabhupada then continues, they did not accept any salary. He's talking about the Brahmanas now. He's saying the Brahmanas did not accept any salaries, nor had they any necessity for such salaries. So Brahmanas, the 6 types of occupational duties of a qualified Brahmana. Can anybody, this is very often mentioned by Prabhupada, anybody can name these 6 qualities, the duties of Brahmanas, activities of Brahmanas?
The Patan, Jajan.
Mm-hmm.
The other 2 I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Patan, Jajan, and then Dan and Patigraha.
Dan.
So, okay, let's see, what's Patan?
It's studying the scripture.
Okay, so let's just list them. So I got the way I've got on my PowerPoint is list them. So you're quite right. Patan, Yajan, Patigraha, and Dan. So what is Patan used? Okay, so Parikamada, you mentioned something?
Yeah, studying the scripture.
Yes, he must be conversant with the Vedic scripture. That's Patan. So somebody else can say what is Patan then?
And to teach the others.
Yes, Patan means that he must also be able to teach Vedic knowledge.
To the others, yeah.
Yeah. So when we say the word for school in Sanskrit is Pathashala, isn't it? Pathashala. So
Pathashala, yeah.
Then Yajan.
Is it to do with the yagnas?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So he must be expert at worshipping different deities and performing Vedic rituals, the yagnas. Then Yajan.
Teaching how to do it.
The Yajan actually means he must perform the Vedic rituals for the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. The Yajan is his that what he must know, and Yajan means that he must then perform. That's his duty. His duty is to perform these yagyas for Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. And then Pratigraha.
Is it accepting the?
Yes, accepting contributions. So accepting the Pratigraha, which means accepting Dakshina from his followers. So in those days, as it says in India, they never accept salary. They would not give, not nowadays. Nowadays, you want a Brahmana to come to your home and do some yajna, he will have a menu, right? He will say, this, if you want this, I'll charge you this much. If you want, so they didn't have those, of course. They relied on Dakshina. There was never any question of them asking for money. The Yajman would automatically give them according to the Yata Shakti, whatever they could afford, they could give, and the Brahmanas would be quite happy with whatever they got. Sometimes they'd get more, sometimes they would get less. And last one was Dana.
They also give it away.
Yeah, exactly. So the point is, they don't actually have any income. As we're saying here, there's no salary. They don't have anything there, right? So how can they give away if they don't have anything? But it's explained that whatever they receive, they don't stock it. They,
Yes.
they don't stockpile things or don't have big bank accounts. Whatever they receive, they use whatever they need, and whatever surplus they have,
Give
they
it.
give to others. This is such wonderful quality, right? These are the qualities of brahmanas. And then Prabhupada continues in the purport. They were all self-realized souls, and they knew perfectly well how all living beings in the state would be happy, both in this life and in the next. So there's a verse in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita talking about the natural qualities of a Brahmana, 1842. Anybody know this verse? Starts with Shama Damash, Shamo Damash. No? Any second initiates on this call? Second initiates should know this. Shamo Damastapa Shosham Kshantirajam Evacha Yanam Vijyanam Astikam Brahmano Brahmakarma Swabhavacham. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. And Prabhupada continues in the purport. They were not concerned with the hedonistic philosophy of eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. So hedonistic philosophy is literally, don't think about anything else, just whatever, do your best to enjoy this life, because their philosophy is that there is only one life. There is nothing else after this. This is the kind of philosophy that they have. And, this is atheistic philosophy, which is very dangerous because you're going to live, but by this kind of philosophy, you're going to live like a reckless life. And we're going to commit so many sins that our next life will be horrible. But because they don't understand and they don't have any knowledge about it, they just remain like this. But this is not, whenever we think about this kind of philosophy, generally we think about the Western world where, that there's not much Vedic knowledge, and because of lack of Vedic knowledge, they have this kind of mentality. Just eat, drink, be merry. Don't think about the future. But even in India, as far back as around 600 BC, there was this philosophy present. And there was a Muni called Charvak Muni. The Charvak Muni.
But many times he quotes his
Yes.
eat and marry and just
Exactly. Prabhupada quoted many lectures. Exactly. Palika Mataji, do you know what the particular verse he quotes? Actually, in many sutras the Charvak philosophy has put out, but Charvak Muni, one particular verse that Prabhupada repeats quite often is quite interesting. Do you know it, Palika Mataji?
Can't remember, but many of his lecture use that. He says that Chabramani says this life is only one, so eat as much as you want, and borrow, even if you can't, you borrow your money from somewhere and just enjoy this life.
That's it. That's it. You got it. That's exactly the verse. So the verse goes like this. Venam kitva gritam pibet, yava jivet sukham jivet, basmi bhutasya dehasya kutas agamano bhavet. So Venam, as Palika Mata says, Venam means borrow. Even if you need to borrow. So even Venam Kirta means borrow if you have to. But Gritam Pibet. Gritam, do you know what that means, Gritam, Palika Mata?
No, sorry.
Ghee. Is it ghee?
Ghee, exactly, yes. Was it Rupa Mataji? Yes.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Rupa Mataji. Yeah, ghee, exactly. So obviously in those days, about 600 BC, ghee must be a really expensive commodity. Very much of a luxury, I guess. I suppose even nowadays ghee is not cheap. But so ghee was the thing. So he was saying, in one sense, eat ghee, or you can also look a broader sense. It could mean that you just eat sumptuously. It's whatever you do. So even you have to borrow money. If you don't have money, then just borrow money or steal money, whatever. Just but do drink ghee. Yava jivet sukham jivet. So whatever you do, just try and live as happily as possible, even if it's at the expense of others or whatever. Bhashmi bhutasya dehasya, which means this body is going to be burnt anyway. Kutas agamana bhavet, which means Kuta agamana. Agamana means coming back. There's no question of coming back. So just enjoy this life. This is the dangerous hedonistic philosophy. The devotees are
Where do they get this philosophy? Is it making their own, or I mean, there is not. It shouldn't be. It wouldn't be any scripture. Do
so
they make
actually,
their own scripture?
you'll be surprised. So you'll be surprised. So these philosophers in the early ages, they have put out their own scriptures propagating this kind of philosophy. So Charvak philosophy is there in books, you know. So even today, I won't be surprised that people are following that. And you know, this is irresponsibility. People who don't want to think about taking responsibility for themselves in this life would very happily go to that philosophy and think. And even I know one of my close friends in Hong Kong. Every time he used to say to me, "No, I don't believe there's another life." He says, "I believe that this is the only life you have, so make the most of it." So you have many people like this today. This is an Indian person, not even a Western person. So it's very prominent, and why it appeals to people even today is this. Prabhupada used to say actually that the reason why some people are reluctant to join ISKCON or come to the temples is because they know that when they come, they'll know the reality. They'll be taught the reality, and once they've been taught that, it'll be difficult for them to then practice this irresponsible philosophy. But they want to live in their cocoon and not be exposed to the real life. So this is the situation.
Yes, Prabhuji, there are like quotes nowadays. There is only one life, enjoy. So everybody says it's like that. Yeah, there's only one life, enjoy. And also, like this says about Renam or taking loans. Nowadays, it is like that. People take loans to go on holiday. First, they enjoy then they then they pay back the loan. So everything for enjoyment, car or house or everything is they borrow the money to enjoy and then they pay the money.
Exactly. So this is, you can see, it's very prevalent, right? The thing is, just they don't want to live within their means, and also there's lots of temptations, isn't it? Because you would have these big advertisement billboards, get this car, get this holiday, buy this, new home. So many things are tempting you, and people then don't think about whether they will afford it or they'll be able to repay the loan or whatever, and they just go crazy with loading themselves with debt, and then work to the grave because they have to keep repaying the loans. And they don't have time for anything to do, any spiritual, because they're so busy with their so-called material life. Such a disaster, really. So, yeah. Any comments, any questions, any realizers, anybody?
Actually, I mean, my understanding about this, about Srimad Bhagavatam is the Amala Puranas to help us, because we are in this material world and we need to get the higher knowledge. So all these personalities in the Srimad Bhagavatam are explained, so how we can actually improve our life, quality of the life by associating with Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's why we are all here together, just to learn from the expert who has been practicing, so that it can help us to come above the modes of material nature and help to prepare ourselves to go to the spiritual world. I mean, how Yudhishthira Maharaj, Arjuna, how they live their life, and how they at the end they managed to go to the spiritual world. So this is the message the Bhagavatam is carrying. So we need to take it very seriously and give it to the others.
That's the main thing. You're quite right. So we've by some good fortune, all of us have come in contact with Srila Prabhupada's philosophy, and we have good fortune to have so much wonderful association at the temple and through the various sanghas, etc. So we, like you say, we need to obviously make our own life as perfect as possible. Everybody has different circumstances with family and responsibilities, but in whichever way, we must try and give this side of our life priority. And then at the same time, as Palika Mataji said, give it to others, give it to others. That is what we must do.
It's wonderful, actually. When you sit down because I've not been driving because of my health, and recently because of the weather, I just make myself courage, to try to go to the temple, at least when the traffic is not so bad. And if you sit down in the reception area, so many people come, and
Yeah.
so many people are really ready to receive the knowledge. I met last week, I think there's two Jewish gentlemen came, and as I was offering the prasad, and they were so ready to listen anything you say, and the one is, please listen to her. They are so wonderful people. Because we've been practicing, we realize how wonderful this knowledge is. Whoever ready to receive, and they're really listening, and it's a wonderful place to be. I just felt that way. It's
Yes.
a lot of opportunity to preach.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, one of my services that I do, and I've been doing this for many, many years, actually, is one of my first services when I started to come to the temple, is hospitality. So every
Yeah,
Sunday,
very nice. Very
on
nice.
Sundays, there's a whole team of us, and we do hospitality, and we meet people in reception. Sometimes they actually book. Now they have online. They can book their tour, so they
Yes,
book the
yes.
tour online, and they will come at that time. Then you can take them around, and then you can actually, depending on the level, you can try and judge where they are, how much interested they are. We don't want to for their service. Our idea is not to push somebody very hard.
No,
We can't put them off. So we just judge very gently, and then we can preach gently. And somebody who wants to know more, you can actually re-invite them to the sanghas and everything. It's a wonderful service. So if any one of you would like to join that service, it's a great service to do, very satisfying service. So let me know, because I can then put you in touch with the head of that team, and then we can take 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever, on a Sunday. Come and spend a couple of hours in the reception, and take people around. Really, really nice service.
thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for reminding us for that, Palika Mataji. Yeah, thank you. Okay, devotees, thank you so much for joining. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripasinti Vaishnavibhyo namo namo.
Hare
Prabhupada
Krishna,
ki
Prabhuji.
jai.
Jai.
Thank
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji, for very
Hare
nice talk. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the
Thank you,
wonderful
Prabhuji.
talk.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna.
Thanks. Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Umilaben.
Hare Krishna. So you'll be here every Monday,
Thank you. Hare
Every
Krishna.
other Monday. Every other Monday.
every other Monday. Yeah, last Monday weren't here.
Yeah. So myself and Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu, we're sharing Mondays. And okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kaushi Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.